evening, everybody. Welcome back to PSGL. George Morgan here, your commentator, alongside me, TK, who is going to be rounding off the season with me. Down the inside, absolutely possible scene.
This is for the win between these two.
I'm on the edge of my seat.
He needs to get it done now.
Blakey will dive to the inside.
We'll go bust. We got our elbows out.
Ronard takes the lead.
Because here comes Alfie Butcher.
Can't really complain with that one.
It's not going to be easy. The pressure is on, of course.
Yarda Watmere is your champion.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are in the world, and welcome back for PSGL PCF reaction evening for round 11, the championship finale here at. I can see some people, of course, in the chat getting. If you haven't heard, news, unfortunately, we are coming end of the season a round earlier than what we were expecting due to low attendance throughout some of the tiers. So we are deciding here at PSGL to bring the championship to a close this evening. So this is going to be the last chance for some of these drivers to be able to take that crown home. My name is Max Ring. I'll be taking you through all of this evening's action. Of course, I was here at the start of the season, but you may know me from F4. So let's talk championship predicament. Let's talk about those championship standings. I'll bring them up now. So, as you can see, it is super close at the top of the table. Of course, ignore the Mexico round. We are not going to have that event this season, so we'll end off here at round 11 at Brazil at the circuit. Carlos Jose Pache. But Campbell Adams is 3 points clear of Isaac Leet, and also Gregory Prejibal. They're all in a very close title battle indeed. And then also on the fringes, needs pole position here this evening to make sure he's within a shout heading into the race. He'll need to take maximum points with everybody else not scoring. That is Tom Roberts, currently lying in 4th. So he is certainly someone that can still play a part, but he will need to take pole position if he wants to take that title. As you can see as well, Campbell Adams, really strong form at the moment. Was taking 2 wins back to back. If he can do that here tonight, it certainly would help his chances at securing that title here this evening. But 3 points separating the top 3 means oh so close head into this championship finale. A little bit further back, we have the likes of Tudor Preskin in 5th. He's 23 points back. If we still had that Mexico round, would have still been in contention. Same with the likes, or actually no, only him would have been still in contention alongside Tom Roberts. And we have Ryan Modler with 42 points, Camille Statura with 36, and then Victor Vidler, Thomas Setsualea, Daniel Koya rounding out your top 10, Wojtek Steg, Kokeni, Patinen and Cloud, who have both left, Enzo Sum, Dalan Bieda, Stephen Vasso, Renz Tomasin, Oleg Napodowski, who's a recent addition, only raced 1 round so far. I saw him in F2 for the 2 rounds he was there. Absolutely superb driver is Napodowski, and he is going to be here this evening as well. Then we have Tolalato, who's unfortunately left us, Valentino Labella, Sprogis, Sosa, Buba, Francesco Largo, Riley McKay, and Zach Miles rounds out your points scorers. So the drivers are about to get underway for qualifying ever so shortly, and as we mentioned, that real big talking point is going to be that championship battle. Leet, Prejibal, and Adams all in that squabble. Certainly going to be an interesting one to see, especially around a circuit like Brazil, which should always be a title finale. It wasn't supposed to be, but now it is. So we're surely going to be in for some emphatic racing as the drivers are just about to get underway for qualifying session. It is going to be all about this qualifying as well. This game, it's so difficult to make your way up through the field if you have a poor session. So if one of those championship 3 unfortunately see themselves qualify somewhere like a 15th or a 14th, it could rule them out of contention before we even start the race. But of course, safety cars, track limit penalties, anything can happen in this Grand Prix, and it is going to be so exciting to watch. And before we get underway for qualifying, make sure you check out our sponsors, Sim Racing Setups, for all things pro esports pro esports racing. So, of course, many trusted customer reviews. All setups are for £50 and use code PSGL for a 5% discount. You get quality setups, race setups, wet weather setups, strategies, instant updates to those setups as well. You get an esports setup versus a more stable setup for every single circuit, and they're compatible with all consoles. And with that, you also get pro support, and it is also created by drivers that are currently racing here at PSGL. But let's now head trackside as the drivers get ready to attack this magnificent circuit at full blast here in qualifying. So as we see, some drivers have now made their way out onto the circuit. One of those being Napadowski, but the first driver, I think, is going to be Richard Sprogis. Yes, it is, the Kick Sauber. The first driver to make his way on to the road. Let's see what he can do on his first flying lap. Of course, this will be the benchmark in the season finale. This will be what everybody is aiming to be. And of course, as the session improves, as the track improves, we are going to see these drivers be able to dip lower and lower in those times. We are going to get underway now with Richard Sprogis. Going to take a very tight line to the start-finish line. Surprised he didn't go all the way to the outside. And actually, no, I think it's going to be a double outlap here from Sprogis. So we'll go on board with Zalan Bieda as he now attacks turn 1. Certainly in more of an attack than Richard Sprogis. As you can see now, heading through turn 3, DRS open, as we now head down the Retro Posta and into the Sino de Largo from Zalan Bieda. Now head down into head up now into turns 6 and 7. A little bit of lag there on the stream, sorry about that. But Zalan Bieda now heading into the final, heading through, the left-hander of Pinarinho. Now into the Pico de Pato, turn 10, where he makes his way down the hill through the flat-out turn 11, then into Yun Sao. Later the brakes, down to third gear, slowly bring that power back up as you then make your way up to that start-finish line through the final couple of corners. They're all flat out and keep a tight approach to the line. Zalan Bieda, what is this going to be? The benchmark time of the session. It's a 1:06.554. Not too bad there from Bieda. A very strong benchmark, and Ryan Modler just falls short from that. And Oleg Napadowski goes even quicker by just under a 1/10 of a second. A very nice lap time indeed there from Oleg. Put himself to top of the time. Sprogis, of course, was on a warm-up. That with one of the McLarens now coming up to the line. That's Judah Priskin, who unfortunately invalidated his. That would have been a 6.7. That would have put him 4th fastest. Now have potentially one of the Williams drivers. It was Isaac Leet, the man currently sitting second in the standings. 1:06.6 for him. What about his teammate, Rens Demassen? He's starting his lap. Campbell Adams now goes to the top of the times. Gregory Prajibal now puts himself up into 3rd place. So a nice lap time there from Gregory. But it is Campbell Adams, the championship leader, who takes the upper hand so far out of the top 3 in the standings. Where's Tom Roberts? He's just getting ready to start his lap. We'll go on board with actually Tudor Preskin as he now makes his way through Pinarinho. Actually, no, of course, he invalidated his previous attempts, and Rens Tomasson is a little bit further round. Got a 50.5 in that middle sector as we now make our way up the hill through the final couple of corners. Sprogis puts himself 9th fastest, that double outlap, not really working in the favour he would have wanted, but it's oh so close throughout this field. And up to the line goes Tomasson, and he's the second driver to make a sub 1 minute 6.4. It's a 6.376, exactly a tenth quicker than Napadowski, and Campbell Adams still has a healthy advantage over the rest of the field for now. What about Enzo Soom? A little bit further back on his lap now, currently heading into the final couple of corners. I think Tamas Kokeni will be nearly coming up to the line as well. 50.6, about a tenth of what we saw Tomasson do in that middle sector. So be looking around that Napadowski Gregory Przeeble range as he now makes his way up to that start-finish line, hugging that inside line. Up to the line he goes, and it is third fastest there from Enzo Soom. A lovely lap time for him, found some time in that final sector. Kokeni's just about to head down into Ian South. Tom Roberts is now making his way to the line, but he has invalidated, unfortunately for him. He's going to go again. Of course, this session crucial for Tom Roberts. Needs pole position, or his championship chances are over. Exactly 17 points. Needs a maximum points haul with everybody else not scoring. It's a very, very slim chance of him picking up the title, as that's Kokeni with a 6.6. Not a strong lap time there from him, unfortunately. He goes 16th fastest, but for Roberts, it is oh so crucial. He takes this pole position. Of course, it's still a slim chance, but there is 99% faith, 1% chance going to be in this man's car. And currently driving for the Scuderia Ferrari as he now heads through Pinarino and up into the Pico de Pato. Too late to the brakes once more, down to third gear. You would think slowly bring that power back up. Of course, they've done a full lap already, so they're going to be a little bit worse for wear. Potentially some pace lost on his lap as he now makes his way to the line. Of course, still 11 minutes and 35 left in the session, so still plenty to play for here in qualifying. As we head up to the line here with Tom Roberts, where can he go as he crosses the line? Only 14th fastest. That'll be nowhere near good enough. But of course, put your predictions as well in the chat. Who you think is going to win the championship here this evening? Will it be Roberts? Will it be Przeeble? Will it be Leet or Adams? It is all certain to play for, and so far for Roberts, he would be out, and for Leet, it couldn't have started any worse. Down in 16th place on a 6.6, huge swing up the order, but of course, only 3 tenths, up 3.5 tenths, should I say, sorry, covering that 17 drivers that have set lap times. So it's oh so close throughout this field. Comes down to this one session here in the title finale. Drivers heading out onto the circuit. Napadowski and Wojtek Steg are out on the road. First driver out will be Napadowski, who of course has done one race so far this season in F3. That was at Suzuka, and he was able to pick up a second place finish. Going to be looking to try and take at least another top 5. I think that would be certain his goal for this final round. Currently lies 4th fastest, a 10th and 10th and 7400. So nearly it needs a 2 tenths advantage to beat Campbell Adams' lap comfortably at this stage. That makes his way out of Ian South. Might come up with come across some traffic as this lap progresses, so we'll stay on board, of course, with the Red Bull as he now makes his way down that main straight and up into the center S's of turn 1. Are we going to see Oleg find any time on this lap through the first corner? A little bit of a slide, and he's going to instantly abort out of that one. He's not going to go for that one any further. Just going to back out of it, and I think Wojtek Steg doing that double outlap we've seen other drivers do. The Sprogis going to do the same thing? Yes, he is. So we've got 3 drivers currently. It says on laps, one of them was due to a mistake, and the other 2 going for 2 outlaps. But they're all going to go once more once they make it to the line. It also gives them that chance to avoid that traffic they could have come across on their laps. but it does give them a little bit more breathing room and not having to worry about slow cars in the way. Tamas Kokeni now on he's up a little bit wide through the first corner. Going to affect his run out of turn 2. Hugs that inside curb through 3. DRS open as we now head down the Reto Oposta and into the Sino de Largo. Then late on the brakes, already up by a 1/10 of a second, down to 4th gear, then through turn 5 and up into turns 6 and 7. Through the right-hander and then into turn 8, very late on the brakes, down to 3rd gear, bring it to that left-hand side and then hug the inside curb once more through Pinarino and up into the Bigo Tabato. Of course, translate to duckbill in English as we now head down into Yunsao. What are we looking like in the middle sector here from Kokeni? Just under 2/10 of a second. This will promote him potentially into that top 5. So it shows how much a small improvement can really gain you. And he's still got some time in the lap, surely, at turn 1 as he now heads up to the line. What's this going to be for Kokeni? Can he break into that top 10? Yes, he can. Into the top 5 he does go. And he's just in front of Gregory Przybul, who is on his lap time now. He's just started his attempt. So we'll go on board a championship rival, Isaac Leet. Of course, him and Przybul are tied on points. Modler now goes quickest of all on a 6.287. Late on the brakes, Isaac Leet, he's up by just under 2/10 of a second. This will promote him up into that top 10, but he needs to try and break even further up the order. That's Preskin up into 3rd place now as he comes across the line. Bieda 6th. Here comes Isaac Leet. Where can he go? Only 10th fastest. So this is not a qualifying to remember so far for the Williams man, squabbling for that title. Gregory Przybul, though, up by half a 10th in that first sector. What are we looking at in the middle? Up by nearly 2/10 of a second. We could see him now dive into the low 1 minute 6.2s or potentially a 0.1 coming away of the Australian. DRS open for Gregory Przybul as he makes his way to the line. Can he take provisional pole? No, just misses out. A 1 minute 6.310. It's oh so close throughout this field as Roberts now goes 5th fastest. Exact dead heat between him and Przybul. Campbell Adams, though, still pushing on, and he's up by 700ths in that middle sector. And Campbell Adams, this is going to be a proper gauntlet of a throwdown as Tomasen now goes quickest with a 6.1. Campbell Adams surely won't get close enough to that one. No, he'll fall just short by a 10th of a second. But Rens Tomasen throwing that statement out there at this midpoint of qualifying. A 6.127, a 10th clear of the man currently lying in 2nd place, your championship leader Campbell Adams. And is he going to snatch pole position? As things currently stand, everything will stay the same, but Tom Roberts will be eliminated from championship contention. So the top 3 will stay 3 points apart from one another. And then it'll be Tom Roberts on that 17 points, unfortunately seeing the door being eliminated from championship contention. So, as we're getting into crunch time for this session here, Rens Tomasen currently lines up on provisional pole, but how Campbell Adams would love an extra point to his championship challenge. Of course, he's leading the championship by 3 points. If he gets pole position, that does go up to 4. That'll just give him a little bit more breathing room over Leet and Przybul. Of course, if they want to score 4 points, the pair of them, they would need to finish in 7th place. So, if he does get this point, and Campbell Adams does, well, if he gets his point for pole and Campbell Adams doesn't, as Enzo Soom now goes to the line. I didn't even see he was still out on the circuit as he sets a 1 minute 6.252. That will surely be the end of his session, unless he can get back to pit lane quite quickly. That's a lap time that came out of nowhere. Didn't actually see him trundling around on the circuit and actually pushing on for a lap. I was looking at the point system, of course. But if Campbell Adams does pick up this point for pole position, and he doesn't score, it will be a 6th or above for Isaac Leet, and for Gregory Prajibul, he can afford that 7th place because he's got the most wins out of anyone this season. He's got 3. Win the title on countback. So, Prajibul, if he ties with either Leet or Adams, when it comes to the points, it will be on countback. That is how it will work. He will take the title, no matter which driver it is he ties with. So, as we see Enzo Sum return to pit lane, we see drivers now exit out of the circuit. I think the first one is going to be Oleg Napadovsky. As he will start us off on these final runs, or is he going to start us off on these final runs? I don't think he will. He's trundling round. I think he's going to go for that 2 outlap strategy. And I think the same could be said. I think that is Riyad Sprogist just behind him. Yes, it is. So he's going to do the same. And we turn our attention to that Mercedes just behind. Is that Gregory Prajibul? Yes, it is. The Australian. I don't know if he's going to attack it either. Making his way to the line. No. A lot of these drivers doing 2 outlaps throughout this session. As an Alpine, I think, further back. Not Campbell Adams, it's going to be his teammate Valentino Labella. As he... No, I thought he was going to go for an attack there, but he is not. That has certainly looks like they are. And that's going to be Steven Vasso, the Ukrainian. What can he do now on his lap time? As he's... No, he's aborted. He's made a mistake and has aborted from that lap. Tom Roberts is potentially going to go for it. No, he's also aborted. I think everybody's doing this 2 outlap strategy to see where they can place this car, except from Ryan Modler. Let's see what he can do. The German, as he now makes his way down the Retro Posta and into the Sino de Largo through that first sector split, up by 0.03 of a second, of course. He'll need to find a 10th if he wants to beat Rens Thomas, and he's invalidated, and he aborts the lap. All eyes now turn to Campbell Adams as he now pushes on in his lap time. He's 4 thousandths down in that first sector, and he is going to go for it here. So we'll stay on board with the man currently leading the championship, Campbell Adams, as he now makes his way through turn 6 and 7. It's going to come up under a lot of traffic as this lap progresses. Could distract him ever so slightly through this middle sector as we now head into Pinarino. Got a V-carb in the way. That could potentially be of Tamas Kokeni. As we now head through the right-hander of Pico Tabato, and now down into Yunsao. A little bit of a moment through turn 11. He's down by 0.04 of a second. This is disastrous for Campbell Adams. He won't take that extra point, but as long as he can stay on that front row and out-qualify both Prajibul and Leet, he will not care. Up to the line he will go. Has he found the time he needed to snatch pole position away? No, did find half a 10th, but it just was not enough. Isaac Leet, what is he doing on his lap time? He's up to the line. And he goes with a 6.384, only 11th fastest. So that's going to be it for him, as Gregory Prajibul has invalidated. That's the risk of the double outlap. And Tomasin goes even quicker. A 1:06.051. That is the true statement laid down. He's laid the law, has Rens Tomasin here in Brazil. And he goes to the top of the times. And it's even quicker. Napadovsky can't improve. Fiddler to the line, only 10th fastest for him. That's one of the McLarens. Is that Prescott to the line? Yes, it is. He now goes 3rd fastest. As we see now a Mercedes. Is that Prajibul? And he's invalidated lap times to the line. I think it is one of the Alpines. That's going to be off Labella. Now making his way up to the start-finish line. Got a lovely slipstream from the Red Bull. And he now shoots himself up into that top 10. That is going to be now Steven Vasso up to the line. He's invalidated his attempts. Unfortunate for him. Enzo Sum is pushing on still. Is he going to be the one that somehow displaces Tomasin? Roberts just misses out for 2nd place. Sum can finish the lap and be able to make it an improvement. Up to the line comes some more, and a big smash down that front stretch as we see Sprogis finish. He's that Ryan Modler is going to be pushing on, but he can't find any sorts of improvement. And it's going to be the likes of potentially Bieda, who's down on his lap time, and everybody else coming into pit lane, I think. So it is going to be the Williams driver of Rens Tomasin brutally denying Tom Roberts from pole position. Roberts is on the row he needs to be, just not that position. So we see our first driver fall out of contention here, ladies and gentlemen. And that is Tom Roberts. He could not win the title here this evening. We started with 4 in this qualifying session. We are down to 3. Leet, Prejibel and Adams will now all squabble it out. And actually, it's upper hand Campbell Adams who starts this one from 3rd place on the grid. The championship leader put himself in an amazing position to win this title. It's Tomassen from Roberts, Adams, Preskin, Sum, Modler, Steg, Prejibel down in 8th, Vasso, Labella, Vidler, Kokeni, Napadowski, Kuya, Leet having a disastrous qualifying down in 15th. That's not going to help his championship chances at all. And that's what I mentioned earlier on in the stream. There's Bieda, Boba, and Lucas Sierra rounds out our 19 driving tonight. So then, as we now load in to the race, see come out on top. Who is going to take this title? It all comes down to 3. It is a dry race so far this evening. As what we can see from the start, it will start dry. Not sure if any weather would be involved near the end. Actually, I think we are going to get we are potentially going to get a 20 driver grid with Felipe Sota joining us this evening. But now big talking points is track limit penalties. What's going to happen with that? Of course, easy to pick up a penalty. We saw plenty of invalidation during the session of qualifying there. So plenty of warnings can be picked up. And then, of course, that strategy is going to be oh so crucial. It's no more about sitting behind one another in that slipstream and constantly swapping places. It's now all down to performing that strategy perfectly and making that move for the lead on the final lap. Could we get a championship deciding run to the line? That would also be something really fascinating to see. But as we now make our way to the grid to see who does really take the crown. 2 Australians, 1 Brit. The 2 Australians, of course, being Adams and Prejibel, the Brit being Isaac Leet, all squabbling it out. And it's so far upper hand to Campbell Adams. And the championship decider here in Brazil, we have 5 red lights. And we're underway for the finale. Tomassen gets away well, but Roberts might just be able to draw alongside into turn 1. He's got a good second phase to that stint. Of course, gloves will be off now for Tom Roberts. Doesn't have to focus on the championship. It's now just self-pride, but he gets forced wide through turn 2. I think that was someone spinning in the background. It was Wojtek Steg being sent round. And Gregory Prejibel as well. Disastrous for the man's 3rd in the standings. Of course, tied on point with Isaac Leet. What has happened to Gregory Prejibel in this opening lap? He's missing half his front wing. Disaster for the Australian, and we could see ourselves already down to 2 for the title as Napadowski sent round as well, and losing some front wing was Lucas Sierra, who unfortunately had a back getting involved in all of that as Tomassen leads away well. Preskin was able to move himself up into 2nd place. Roberts had to fall down to 3rd. Sprog is now moving himself up into that top 10, but still to the inside is Tamas Kokeni, but round outside of his teammate was Kuya there, but into the Pico to Pato. Kokeni was able to break later, then Sprogis as we now head up into Jensau, who's going to come out on top in this scrap for the final World Championship point on this opening lap. It is going to be Riyad Sprogis for now, but Tomassen has been able to lead away at the start of this race, but Preskin will be all over the back of him for the remainder of this one as DRS is now enabled, and you can see a little bit of a defensive tweak to the inside line from Rennes to Masson, but for Gregory Przeebel, one of the championship hopefuls, the man 3 points behind Campbell Adams, has unfortunately seen a mistake early on. He's going to need a safety car or a miracle to pull this one back. And for Campbell Adams, he may have dropped a few places, but he will not care. A 5th place finish will be enough for him tonight. And let's have a look at the tyres that the drivers are running this evening, as it is medium tyres for everyone. And Przeebel's gone on to the softs, but it is mediums for everybody. You now see Campbell Adams in this train. It's going to stay somewhat a train for the majority of this opening stint, somewhat of a procession as they all build their way into a rhythm. Potentially a move being made here from Koya to the inside of Rihard Sprogis for 11th place, as we now go round the outside with Sprogis. Can't get that move done. And for Isaac Leitz, he, of course, is also squabbling for this championship, but being so far down on his rival Campbell Adams, it could just be a case of cementing that 2nd place. And for Adams, taking that title as Prescott able to get past Samasson there with the DRS. Knows he would have been under threat from Tom Roberts if he left it a little bit later. As we now head down that Rally Roposta for lap 3 to begin. 36 laps here, of course. So plenty of opportunities. It's a move done. Into turns 6 and 7. Isaac Leet now potentially putting on some pressure to Daniel Koya in front. Rihard Sprogis as well coming under pressure from the V-carb. So it could be the attack is the best form of defence here for Daniel. Trying to keep ahead of Isaac Leet. Now head through Vico to Padso and down the hill into Yensal. Just not being close enough for that move just yet is Leet, but of course these drivers will want to keep their engines cool as well, so expect some of them down that main straight as well, most notably, and also potentially down the Retro Posta into the Sino de Largo. They're going to see themselves pull out of that slipstream, pull down those engine temperatures, because engine power is so crucial around a circuit like Brazil. Again, no move being made. You can see it in the background there. That was Lucas just pulling out of Buba's slipstream just to keep that engine cool. As you now head through that left-hander of turn 3. No one's still close enough to make a move, as Trude Prescott was able to lead on that last lap from Tomas. Was having to build somewhat of a gap in that middle sector, so potentially more downforce on that McLaren compared to the Williams. We'll potentially see him now move himself further up the order. No, not the order. Sorry, move himself further away from Rennes to Masson. And then push on out of that DRS window, but not this time around, not able to break as much of a gap. Masson, so maybe the Williams just struggling to cope with that dirty air at first, and now is going to be trying to push forwards. Just stick with the McLaren for now, because of course don't need to make that move just yet. It is just all about getting into that rhythm, looking after those tyres, the battery, and also making sure you don't pick up any unnecessary track limit warnings in this early stage. Pushing on that first pit stop. Well, we see these drivers, of course, potentially make some moves by the time just before they get into pit lane, because track position is so vital. Who's going to go for that undercut? Who's going to go for that overcut? They are the real questions that will be answered probably on these medium tyres around about, I would say, lap 12 to 13. We could see some early pitters though. The likes of people having to make that pit stop, we could see some drivers potentially try a 2-stop strategy. So as we look into the attack, Campbell Adams in 5th, of course, championship leader, doing everything he can, doing it right as well. Of course, you want to keep up that podium streak. 2nd place, of course, in Qatar, and a race win in Japan, followed by a race win in Vegas last time out. But at least won a podium from tonight. That will really put the cherry on the cake. It can take that title with the podium position. Sierra has come into pit lane for a set of the hard compounded tyres. Head down that hill, up into turn 6. Before we head into that tight, technical and twisty middle sector. It's also a bit difficult to how you set up your car. Do you set it up for the corners, make yourself better in that middle sector, or do you to then also help save the tyres too? Or do you set yourselves up purely for straight line speed for the Retro Poster and also that long main straight, which of course comes all the way from Yen South through 13, 14 and 15, bringing down to turn 1? Is that what you focus on, or is it that corners to save those tyres? Because you have less downforce, slide around a lot more, the car doesn't grip up as nicely, and you see yourself start to put some extra unnecessary wear onto the tyres. We see Victor Vidler now come into pit lane, so that is our first run-up from the top 10 into the pit. Salam Bieda as well coming into the pit lane. So let's see how these pit stops go for them. I don't think there's going to be any moves further up throughout the field. So they're just going to get themselves into some clean air, push on for as much as they can to bring down that gap to the cars in front. Vidler, I think, was just behind either his teammate Vasso or Valentino Labella. See what he can handle now. Heading out to the pit lane. And let's see how this undercut really does work, of course. And that middle sector as well will be oh so crucial. Traction points, especially the likes of Pico Tapato and Pinarino. But then also the center S's as well. It can be a real big game changer. Those fresher tyres, because you're just able to carry so much more speed compared to the cars on those older tyres. See where Victor Vidler comes out when these drivers come into pit lane, and Tudor Prescott stays out. Is anyone from this front field going to come into the pits? Yes, they are. We're going to see Ryan Modler now dart it into pit lane. Same with Stephen Vasso as well. Isaac Leach stays out. So it's Vasso, Kokeni, and Modler now all into pit lane. As Victor Vidler's undercut worked, and has he been able to jump not only his teammate, but potentially Ryan Modler as well, as we now head down that main straight. Of course, exiting the pit lane, you're on the outs, inside for turn 1. And in the outside for turn 2. But then again, you're in the inside for turn 3. But you can't carry as much speed as the drivers that are hustling around the circuit. And Victor Vidler's undercut did work quite nicely. Not only on to Stephen Vasso, but also his teammate, also onto Ryan Modler as well. So he's able to jump his teammates and stick to the back of Ryan Modler. A really nice undercut there. Same for Zam Bieda, who's now all over the back of Tamash Kokeni. But just wasn't able to get that move done as we head up into that middle sector now. So at the front of the field, are we going to see anybody respond to that Ryan Modler challenge? Yes, we are. It's Tudor Prescott who comes into pit lane, and everybody else but Renz Tomasson follows. Enzo Sum stays out a little longer. Daniel Koya does. Isaac Lee into pit lane. But where is Ryan Modler and all this? Came in from 4th place. Is he now going to see himself, puts himself to at least second, well, at least the front of this train to jump Tudor Prescott as we now head through turns 1 and 2. Tudor now just heading out of pit lane, and Ryan Modler heading through turn 3. Now it's going to be neck and neck on the exit, actually, I think. And I think it is just going to be Ryan Modler who comes out on top. They're going to be side by side, and it is going to be the Kick Sauber who comes out in front. And now Tom Roberts under all sorts of pressure from Victor Vidler in this one too. There's some contact made as they exit out of the Sino de Largo, and it is going to be Tom Roberts who just stays in front for now. But that undercut really did seem to work for some of these drivers, as we now potentially see Renz Tomasson come into pit lane and come out potentially not only behind Tom Roberts, but potentially Stephen Vasso and Campbell Adams, who's also dropped down a little bit further back. He's now behind Stephen Vasso. Tomasson actually tapping the wall slightly there on pit lane entry. But these are crucial moments in this Grand Prix as Sum stays out for longer. Hoyer and Sprogis do the same. Same with Buba as well. And Napadowski stays out an extra lap. Ryan Modler is now just making his way down that main straight. Going to be under all sorts of pressure from Tudor Prescott, who makes his way through nice and easy with the DRS. I don't think they're going to squabble much because they know they can jump Tomasson here. As we head down the hill through the center S's, Tomasson just heading through turn 3. Who's he going to come out behind? Is it going to be Roberts? Yes, it will be Roberts. He comes out behind as we head down that Retro Poster now into the Sino de Largo. Slots in nicely, but he has dropped 2 places in this race. drop behind Roberts and Ryan Modler, which is going to be very crucial in this battle for the race victory. But on lap 10 of 36, we've seen everybody come into pit lane, but Napadowski, Buba, Koya, Sprogis, and also Enzo Sum as well. So exiting out of the Pico to bad zone and down into South. Sum's got a 3-second advantage over Sprogis, does come into pit lane. See where he comes out compared to the rest. DRS then open for Ryan Modler as he heads. Tries to chase down Tudor Prescott and stay with Tudor actually. As of course, McLaren got by on that last lap. Now sits the fastest lap of the Grand Prix 2. Well to add to that tally. So he is trying to shake Modler off his tail ever so slightly. Campbell Adams currently lying 10th place. Needs to try and get past these two Haas drivers quite quickly. Isaac Lee down in, needs to make that 15th place as he is able to get past Enzo Sum. Going to be very, very difficult now for Leet to really bring himself into contention against the Alpina Campbell Adams with 5 cars separating the pair. Try and slice his way up through the order. Rogis, Buba and Napadowski have stayed out these extra laps. Are they going to come into pit lane now? They're going to stay out for a few more. Rogis and Buba come into pit lane. Napadowski will, of course, have to stay out an extra lap to avoid that double stack. No, Buba doesn't come in, sorry. I thought he did. Looked like he was following the line of Sprogis, but him and Buba have decided to stay out once more. And now see themselves. I think this is really going to be the one stop here from the likes of Buba and Napadowski. I think everybody else potentially onto that 2 stop. But I am not sure on how this will all play out into the hands of the 2 Red Bull drivers. Ryan Modler now potentially going to be coming under some pressure from Tom Roberts behind Rick Hassan. Well, in this down in net 4th place in this train. Waiting now, lap 12 of 36. Halfway point will be lap 18. We're nearly at half a race distance. Ryan Modler is starting to drop off the back of this train. Victor Vidler has dropped off the back of this train, and he's now been passed by his teammate Stephen Vass. So is Campbell Adams going to get by as well? Yes, you can surely count he is. To the inside he goes. Lovely move from Campbell Adams, taking full advantage of Vidler having no DRS. He's able to blast by on the inside, and could he potentially get past Vasso as well? Now down into the Retro Aposta and into the Stino de Largo. Yes, he can. Once again with the DRS, capitalising on the Haas cars in front. And will now try and hunt down Renz Tomasson to see what he can do and if he can connect this free train. So for Campbell, of course, his things finished as they were, will take that title. Anything can happen over the course of the next 23 laps when we cross the line. Are the top 2 going to come into pit lane yet? No, they are not. And that's Oleg Napadowski now going to be under all sorts of pressure from Preskin behind as well. They've really been able to close up this gap, have that leading train. We head through the center S's. Just look at the difference grip that Napadowski has compared to Preskin. It's going to be an easy flyby for the McLaren into the Stino de Largo. And as you like. Now he's going to potentially hold out Ryan Modler, which could help Tudor Prescott, but no, he does not do so. Keeps it to that inside line, what had just no advantage compared to the McLaren. Here comes Roberts to the inside. He's going to pull off that move. No, and this is where we could see Tomasson and Roberts fall ever so slightly away from Modder. There's contact between Napadowski and Roberts as he tried swooping around the outside. Here comes Rens Tomasson to make it 3 wide, swooping around the outside line. Roberts just able to come out on top in all that squabbling, and Tomasson has to sit behind the Ferrari once again, but he was able to make his way past the Red Bull, but 3 wide into the Pico Tabato. That was bold, it was brave, it was beautiful stuff from these drivers as Buba now gets passed by Tudor Prescott and potentially going to be overtaken as well by Ryan Modder, but no, he comes into pit lane, and there's Tomasson getting past Roberts with that DRS, with the Scuderia Ferrari, the prancing horse, having none, as now we also see entering the fray Campbell Adams, thanks to all that squabbling, and being held up slightly did Tom Roberts and Tomasson by that Red Bull. As Enzo Sum has retired somewhere on the circuit. I don't know if that's an on-track retirement. Yes, it does. Looks like it might have been contact with Valentino Labella, which has caused that one. But Campbell Adams is now into play, thanks to Tomasson, and Roberts is having to make their way through that traffic. It's also split them away from Modder and Prescott, so these guys can now push on further forward. Potentially try extend that gap over Rens Tomasson, but it's going to be close actually. The Williams driver really has hustled over the course of this last lap and has brought that DRS gap back down. The brilliant stuff there from Rens Tomasson. That is hustling at its finest as you've been able to drive that car all the way up to the DRS range of Ryan Modder within the space of a lap. It was 1.5 when they started. It is now 7/10 of a second as Napadowski finally comes back into pit lane. And he going to set on the hard stay with Buba, and they will see what they can do as Gregory Pizibal, of course, third in the standings, currently sits 18th place. His title hopes and aspirations certainly over and done with after a first lap collision with Wojtek Steg. He's actually made his way back up for the field quite nicely, has Wojtek. He's down 10th place. Drop off the field ever so slightly, but the way everyone congests through this middle sector, especially in those opening few laps where they're all so close to one another, it means that you can find so much time if you're in that clean air because everyone's having to brake that little bit earlier than the last. And it really is a bottleneck effect where you can, if you go for that undercut, that's where it can help you dearly. Now might see actually a battle brewing between Bieda and Tamas Kokeni. It doesn't seem like any move's going to be made at the front of the field as Kokeni holding that inside line against Salam Bieda. And it's a lovely move there from the Aston Martin with the DRS as Wojtek Steg is trying to hold off Daniel Koya and nearly actually did go into the back of Tamas Kokeni. I thought he nearly did, but he did tap the back ever so slightly. And now Steg to the inside of turn 3 of Koya. Who's going to try and come out on top in this one? Sproggis is going to be there to pick up the pieces as well if this goes quite wrong, as we now see into the Sino de Largo. There's Wojtek Steg now actually potentially being forced behind Riyad Sproggis through turn 4, and he has been able to get past has Riyad Sproggis as he moves himself up into 11th. So attacking Daniel Koya there was not the best form of defense from Wojtek Steg, and he drops behind Sproggis with a lovely move around the outside of turn 4 from the kick Sauber, as he's now trying to squabble his way into that last World Championship points. We see Isaac Lee all over the back of him as Koya has now gone to the inside of his teammate, been able to get by, has the V-carb, and Kokeni starting to fall further backwards, and we could now see into Yansawa move from Riyad Sproggis. We do see him to the inside line. Slight contact was made on the exit of the corner, and being really shown onto the grass was Sproggis as we now head up down that main straight. Are we going to see the DRS work into the favour of the kick Sauber? All Kokeni just come out on top for now. Of course, a big tyre difference in age. 4 laps between them, and Kokeni goes deep on the brakes. He reacted to Sproggis moving to that inside line. Potentially thought he's going to brake later, and Sproggis all over the curb, spins round and nearly into Wojtek Steg, but just was able to avoid was the Ferrari, and Riyad Sproggis is a very lucky boy. He did not get collected from behind because that would have been an aeroplane crash, and for Wojtek Steg, superb reaction times to be able to avoid that sliding kick Sauber. It was a good save as well from Sproggis to keep that facing in the right direction. go at the front of this field. It is 5 cars all squabbling it out for that race lead. Preskin, Modler, Tomasson, Roberts and Adams. As Tomasson is starting to put the kick Sauber under all sorts of pressure, but isn't going for that move just yet. But that was some very robust defending here this time last lap by Tamas Kokeni, as Daniel Koya is now able to make his way past on Zalan Bieda. And for Tamas Kokeni, he's not going to have Isaac Lee all over the back of him. I say that. Wojtek Steg now makes his way through on the Williams, and Kokeni actually picks up a 3-second time penalty. Here comes Lee back, though, of Steg, who's picked up some front wing damage. So he might have actually still tapped the back of Richard Sprogis. I thought he missed him, but he might have actually just tapped the kick Sauber ever so slightly and lost that front left end plate. But also in all of this, Kokeni, it was very robust defending against Sprogis, forced him completely off the road. And I think that would certainly be up to Stewart's reviews on that one, which we do not like to see. But that by Kokeni, I think, was just a little bit too hard and a little bit too harsh against Sprogis, leaving the kick Sauber nowhere to go. Wonderful save by Sprogis to keep it facing it the right way. Tomasson, once again, all over the back of Modler, still not going to go for that move, just saving the battery, saving the tyres, dialing into that rhythm and just waiting that little bit longer. Waiting for that pit window to arise again. Wojtek Steg now into pit lane. Is he going to change that front wing? Is that potentially why he's come in? Or is he just going to go for a route stop to those hard compounded tyres? We are going to see a front wing change, so he's going to lose an abundance of time. Come out into the pit lane ever so shortly. Uber and Wojtek Steg, I don't know the rest of the pack on this potential one-stop strategy. Have to see how their race still progresses. Judah just keep up around about that 6th, 7th, 10th window over Ryan Modler. Still got the DRS, has the kick Sauber. Not enough to go for that overtake any just yet. Lap 20 of 36. We're now over that halfway mark. And up into the DRS once more. Still no moves being made at the front. The top 5 are built with 3.7 second gap to Vasso. Vidla in a bit of no man's land. 1.8 seconds ahead of Koya. Sorry, 1.9 seconds behind on Vasso and 1.2 ahead of Koya as it move there being made by Isaac Leet on Tamas Kokeni, who's now coming under pressure from his old foe of a couple laps ago, Richard Sprogis, as we now make our way down into the Sino de Lago. Who's going to come out on top in this one? Is Sprogis going to look to the inside line? Yes, he is. You sure he will. He'll try and get revenge on Kokeni. Shows him the outside line. And to the inside went Sprogis. Got that move done and forced Kokeni slightly off the road. No defence able to be made. And Sprogis gets his revenge on Tamas Kokeni and able to move his way back through. I'm going to try to get past Isaac Lee. At the moment, it's only about 15 laps separating Tomasson from a potential opportunity at Ryan Modler's actually all come into the pit lane at the front. I was going to say also 15 laps away from Campbell Adams taking the title this evening. But we do see drivers into pit lane. What do Preskin and co go on to? They're all onto another set of the hards. Leet into pit lane. Modler also as well. Low stop potentially for Modler, but I think he's going to lag out back in front of Rens Tomasson. Oh, sorry, Leet didn't come into pit lane. It was only Tomasson who came in. I thought I saw the pit icon next to his name. But Preskin has come out just behind Boober, so this one-stop strategy that these FER drivers for Red Bull are going to make is just not going to work in their favour. Look at that, Napatovsky's come out behind this train. So they're going to see themselves shrink down throughout the field. One-stop strategy has really gone out the window. Campbell Adams and Tom Roberts are surely going to react this time around, or they're going to try to get the tyre age delta to the likes of Preskin, Modler and Tomasson. Of course, Adams, as long as he finishes ahead of Isaac Leet, or even if he doesn't, and Leet doesn't score more than 3 points, we'll see Campbell Adams crowned your champion this evening. Makes his way through on Tom Roberts. A lovely switch for that DRS. Salam Bieda now comes in pit lane. These guys staying out that little bit longer at the front of the field. And this could now really work in the hands of Shooter Presko, Modler and Tomas. As they get that undercut, they'll get that gap over these two that are leading this race. Currently, as Wojtek Steg now sets the fastest lap of the race after changing that front wing. Shows he's got some pace, Steg, but unfortunately caught up in some unfortunate incidents. He's seen himself down, currently 6th place. Campbell Adams, championship leader. Trying to take this title in style. Ahead, are we going to see Campbell Adams come into pit lane this time around? No, we are not. Roberts stays out one more as well. And Adams has actually been able to drop Roberts somewhat over the course of this lap. Lucas picks up a 3-second time penalty. Preston was able to get past there on Boober. Is Kokeni going to come into pit lane? Yes, he will. The V-Club just darts to that left-hand side. And now Ryan Modler going to try and make his way through on the Red Bull. Now to the inside line goes the kick Sauber into the center S's. Just can't break late enough. And this is working into the Preston's favour as actually Boober goes deep into the corner. There's Modler using all the curb he possibly can. Tomassen follows him through using the kick Sauber as a battering ram as they now head down into the Sino de Largo. He's going to have to defend here, will the German, against the Dutchman. And it's going to be Modler who just comes out on top through turn 4. But Rens Tomassen showing his intent, showing he will make that move if he requires it. And if at that stage where he will, essentially will fight Modler extremely hard, but very fair indeed. And he will be asking for these two to go into a squabble because it give him that breathing room, give him that advantage he needs to potentially go off and win this race. A 3-second time penalty. I think they're being picked up by Tamas Kokeni. We see Adams, Roberts, and Vasso now all come into pits. Where do they come out in relation to the drivers they were racing against? And look how far back they're going to be. They've got to hope this 3-lap tyre difference is going to pay well. They're going to come out just behind, I think, Oleg Napodowski here. Yes, they are. So 7th and 8th for Roberts and Adams. But they're going to need to pray that this 3-lap tyre age delta gives them the pace they need. Catch back up to that gap between them and Rens Tomassen at the very least, who currently occupies 4th, but a net 3rd place. Around about 5.5 seconds now to Tomassen over the course of the next 11 laps. It's going to be a real comeback charge for Campbell Adams. To the inside he goes of Napodowski into the Pico Tabato. No defense being made there from the Red Bull man. Nothing he could do. No chance of fighting it. The tyre delta is just too large as Roberts is going to sit behind, I think, for the DRS. Try use this to blast back up to Campbell Adams as we see Preston now get past Sprogis, who dives into the pit lane. Masson, is he going to go for that move on Modler? Oh, just behind once again. Further back, we look at that Roberts versus Napodowski move. And it is Roberts. It's that move done quite nicely. Still stays to the back of Campbell Adams. That gap now go around about that 2.5 second phase. Campbell Adams actually has picked up a 3-second time penalty in all of this. So that's going to really cost him dearly. And for Campbell Adams, he will not win this race, you would think. Campbell Adams, the championship leader, will still be the title crown champion as it currently stands. But if there's a late safety car... Oh, it's a 10-second, sorry. It must have been when the fastest lap appeared. Campbell Adams picked up that penalty, so he's got a 10-second time penalty. I don't think that will get removed because he sped into the pit lane. So a mistake here from the championship leader has cost him absolutely crucially. Let's have a look at the penalties, actually. It's 3 seconds to Kokeni and 3 seconds to Sierra. So they've got penalties, and Adams too. So now Campbell will be praying there is not a late safety car, because Isaac Leet could potentially steal this one out of the death if there is. Here comes Campbell Adams then on Booba. Currently at this rate of things, Campbell Adams will be, if we go gap to leader, 10 seconds. He will fall down behind, around about Isaac Leet to be out of the points, but it will be enough to see himself crowned champion. So of course, Leet needs to score 3 or more points for Campbell Adams to lose that crown. So it's crucial that it happens, but it really is now all in the hands of the safety car gods. If we do get a late moment to potentially rob Campbell Adams of a potential championship victory, because of course he'll serve it in the pit lane. Does come into the pits, and that will then drop him potentially behind Isaac Leet there as well, or he'll just stay out and see what will happen there. So for Tom Roberts, now 1.1 seconds behind Campbell Adams as they made their way past Booba, and Campbell Adams is 3 seconds behind Renz Tomasson. So they really are starting to charge their way up through the field, up to the back of the top 3, Adams and Roberts. Certainly in play by around about lap 32, I would think. And Daniel Kuya now makes his way past on Napadowski. This strategy not working for the Red Bull, as we now also see Stephen Vasso make his way through. Modder at the front of the field, still just staying behind Tudor and Tomasson as well. Sticking there too. They're not going to be going for any risky moves just yet. But it's about a second found from Campbell Adams this time around on Renz Tomasson. Will compare their lap time. So Tomasson across the line, he comes. 10.1. Campbell Adams a 9.3. So 8 tenths were found there for Campbell Adams on Renz Tomasson. As Lucas picks up another 3-second time penalty, that puts him to 6. Are we going to see a move potentially from the Williams on the Kick Sauber in front? No, we are not. He's just behind for now. And Salam Bieda now makes his way past on Oleg Napadowski. Next on that list will be Isaac Leet. Now see Booba get overtaken, and also Stephen Vasso get past Daniel Koya. That is a real 1-4 position. And Stephen Vasso moves up to 8th place. Moritz has dropped back slightly from Campbell Adams, but Adams really is starting to hustle through the back of Renz Tomasson. Within DRS range by the end of this next lap. A bit slower than his previous one with that one, but he still is charging along. Really bringing that gap down to that top 3. Back past on Stephen Vasso. Vargo, no, Vasso. A little bit too far clear for now. We are getting into crunch time. The final 7 laps of this race. Of course, it is currently Tudor Preskin leading. Brian Mod the second and Renz Tomasson third, but that's going to be overshadowed by Campbell Adams winning the title as it currently stands. They will add a healthy, might actually not even add any more points. He could win it just simply by 3 points. It could all just stay the same as this evening started. No real change. Standings, if you're Gregory Peeble or Isaac Lee wants it, you would wishing there was still that extra round to go. Of course, if you are just joining us, this is the final round of the season. We have decided, PSGL here have decided for attendance in other tiers to end the season early. One race before planned is tonight here at Interlagos. Truda. Second win of the season, of course. Taking a win out in Qatar. And of course coming off a second place in Vegas as well. Campbell Adams is now within DRS range of Rens to Masson. But the problem is here now for Adams is the fact he's caught up back to Masson, but he's got DRS of Ryan Modeler. And it just then brings in this stage of ebbing and flowing, and it just means that whatever Adams does, fine, he can't really capitalise on it because they're the same down the straights with the limited slipstream there is on this game. It just makes things 10 times harder to get that overtake done. And it could just end as it is now, or potentially Modler getting by on Tudor Preskin. It is surely going to be all about that run to start-finish line as Modler are about 3 tenths shy as it currently stands. And of course Campbell Adams with that penalty won't be able to do anything about it. Even if he does win on the road, whoever comes in second will take that race victory. Modler so far this season, best finish of third. He's had that 3 times. That's Austria, Hungary and Qatar. And then 4, Rens to Masson. Only appeared 3 times this season. Picked up a 3rd place finish. That was in Japan. So as we head up to that start-finish line, is anyone going to go for the move into turn 1? To Masson just potentially taking some caution to that potential lunge that he could see from behind on Campbell Adams. We've got 4 laps to go in this Grand Prix, and Campbell Adams is certainly looking extremely racy indeed. We head into the Sena de Largo, no move being made by the Alpine. Roberts, I'm surprised by not being able to find that time to catch up to the back of Campbell Adams, even with that DRS train. I was expecting to catch up with that congestion, but just seemed to drop too far off at the moment has the Ferrari driver. Victor Vidler, he's able to stay in front of his team and Vasso. We could see 2 drivers pick up their first wins of the season, that being Modler and Tomasson, or Tudor Preskin picking up his second. Come out to that final lap of the race. But 3 laps to go here in Brazil. Final 3 laps of the season. So begin now. So heading into the Largo once more. No move being made there from Tomasson as Isaac Leitz now works his way into the top 10. But that gap between him and also Campbell Adams still teetering on that 10-second window, but at the moment it will not be enough. It needs to be 7th place for Isaac Leitz if he wants to win this title, and at the moment he's a second behind Zalan Bida for that 9th. If he can try and get past Zalan as quickly as he possibly can, it could still be on. It all comes down to these final few laps, and you never know. Adams might get involved in an incident, and Gregory Prajibal, another driver that was fighting for the title here this evening. Unfortunately, it's gone from bad to worse for him after opening lap collision. Decided to end his night 2 laps early. And it was not meant to be for the Australian. Of course, started the season off with that race win in Spielberg. So as we head through the middle sector for the penultimate tour of the circuit. Are we going to see the next time we come through here it be Campbell Adams' championship winning lap? That gap now between him and Isaac Lee. At that, it's 1/10 separating the pair, so Lee might still be able to jump him. Won't be enough. He would finish 8th place and they will tie on points. So DRS open for Campbell Adams. As we start that final lap of this Brazilian Grand Prix. Are we going to see a move here potentially from Ryan Modler on Tudor Prescon down into the Sino de Largo? That will be a very popular move if he's able to take this race victory. But no, he's just not going to be close enough with that DRS. Victor Fiddler able to get past Daniel Koya. Isaac Leet crucially able to get by on Zalan Bieda. But I just don't think it will be enough. We'll put the gap on gap to leader as he's now defending from Zalan Bieda, and that's not what he would want at all. And for Campbell Adams, I think that might have just cemented himself as the champion and stay in front of Isaac Leet in this race. Of course, for Campbell Adams, in every race he has finished so far this season, he has scored points. That streak is just about to stay alive. It is literally by a matter of margins that he's just going to be able to keep that point scoring streak alive. Prescon will win it on the road, but champion of the world here in PSGL F3 is going to be Campbell Adams as he crosses the line to take 4th place on the road as Isaac Lee finishes in 9th, but he just will not get close enough to Campbell Adams, and it's by a mere 0.6 of a second. That Campbell Adams finishes ahead of Isaac Lee. It still wouldn't have been enough anyway. But for Campbell Adams, here in PSGL F3, he is champion of the world. The Australian take a bow. A beautiful season driven by him. And in every race, he did finish. There's only 1 DNF in all of those. And 2 did not start. He has scored a point every time he's been able to make it to that checkered flag. And it has been able to carry on, even with that 10-second time penalty. He may have made a mistake, but Campbell Adams is able to reap the rewards. And he is your driver's champion here in PCF3. Tudor Prescon, of course, wins the Grand Prix. He takes his back-to-back, sorry, not back-to-back, his 2nd race victory of the season. What about Ryan Modler in 2nd, his highest finish of the season? Tomasson with a 2nd, 3rd place, equaling his best result, and Tom Roberts in 4th. Unfortunately, saw himself out of contention in qualifying. Stephen Vasso, Daniel Koya, Victor Fiddler, then it's your champion Campbell Adams in 8th, Isaac Leet 9th, Zalan Bieda 10th, Uber 11th, 12th Labella, 13th Napadowski, Sprogish, Steg, Ko Kenny, rounding out your finishers, and then non-finishers are Prashipo, Lucas Sierra. But what a season it has been here, ladies and gentlemen. Come back to my beautiful face once more. But for Campbell Adams, he is your driver's champion. And it is going to be a superb result for Campbell Adams. I want to know if I'm going to get in. I'll quickly join one of the comms boxes, see if we'll get any of the drivers. Campbell Adams would love to get an in from being the driver's champion. Brian Modler as well. Let me ping the rest of the drivers. So, of course, Renz Tomasson. And finally, man who won the race, Tudor Prescon. If we'll get any from these drivers. And now, but a big congratulations to Campbell Adams for that race victory. It was a race victory? Championship victory, should I say. Sorry there. A superb season driven throughout. It nearly got taken away from him due to a silly mistake. In all fairness, he didn't have to push that hard into the pit lane. All he had to do this evening was score good points, and he nearly threw it all away, but Isaac Lee wasn't able to capitalise. He had a poor qualifying, and I said that could hinder you if you do have a poor qualifying. And it certainly has. We've got Judah in the waiting room. So I think we are going to get Ryan Modler and Campbell Adams as well. We'll leave Campbell to last because, of course, he is the Drivers' Champion. So, last of all. We actually have all the top three in. So we'll start off with Renz Tomasin. Hello, Renz.
Hello. Yes, I can. Yes.
So, that's a third place finish from yourself. Congratulations on that. Just, first of all, talk us through that race. How was it?
Yeah, quite decent. I didn't actually do much race practice, so I did like 6 laps or so. More focused on quali, just to improve myself. But yeah, setup was quite decent, but unfortunately, I did like the wrong strategy on the first stint, so I was behind Ryan. So yeah, then it's very hard to overtake on this track. With the dirty air and the slipstream nearly, yeah, isn't a game even on this game. So yeah, it's quite difficult to overtake. So yeah, it's a pretty decent race, but nothing really special.
Yeah, you said that wrong strategy. Do you think that really was the difference between you winning and losing the Grand Prix?
Yeah, I think so. I think my pace was yeah, pretty good. But yeah, of course you can't really push as you wanted, of course, due to the tire wear and being in the dirty air. But yeah, I think so. But yeah, it is what it is, you know.
Certainly is. Indeed, of course. This is your second podium of the season, at the final race of the season. What are your aspirations heading into season 41? Are you hoping to potentially go up to F2 or stay here in F3? What's your goals?
I would like to get into F2, first of all, but yeah, I've missed a lot of races this season, so yeah, I don't think it's possible next season yet. But I will prove myself in the season itself, and yeah, I mean, we just gotta see. I'm gonna practice fully on PSGL, and then I'm just gonna see what it's like, and yeah, maybe get F2.
Hope, of course, that final stint as well. You were stuck behind Ryan Modler. I mean, even when you came out in the second stint too, was it just a case of Modler having DRS making it near on impossible to get that overtake done?
Yeah, we had the same tires, so of course then it's even more difficult when you don't have a tire advantage. So yeah, it was double. Like, you have dirty air and no tire advantage. So yeah, I tried a few times to get close on the last corner, but I mean, yeah, there's just no chance to get even close and do something. So that's unfortunate, but I mean, it is what it is.
Well, congratulations at third place, right?
Thank you.
Yeah, enjoy your evening and good luck for next season.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for this commentator. Thank you. Thank you for the season as well. So have a good one. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, Renz. Thank you for joining us. Next, we shall have the man who finished second race. The man we just said about being stuck behind with the DRS. Bring in Ryan Modler.
Like good track.
Hello, Ryan. Can you hear me?
Yes, hello, hello.
Hello. Congratulations on that second place. Highest finish of the season. Just talk us through that one. How was it?
Yeah, first of all, finally not a P3 anymore. It got very annoying to only get P3s. But yeah, I mean, the race was like always a little boring, but I don't complain about that if I'm P2 in the end. yeah, and my race basically was covering the undercuts the whole time. I mean, we had 2 stops, so double the risk. But I would say we did that pretty well. So yeah, I'm very happy to end the season in P2.
Yeah, of course, you came in a little bit earlier. The rest of the cars in front of you. Get that undercut effect. Just how crucial was that to you? And was you always preparing to do that if everybody else stayed out that little bit?
Yeah, exactly. That was my plan the whole time. I mean, the first pit stop was also quite early, I would say. But always in the back of my mind, I had that I always need to cover the undercuts. And then in the second stint for the second pit stop, the train got a little bit splitted, so we were in the top 5 together. And then I said to my engineer, yeah, we still need to pit like early to just cover off Tom and Campbell. Yeah, Campbell. So yeah, I think I went in at lap 21, and then we just drove it to the end. I mean, you can't overtake anyway, so.
Seemed very much, especially near the end, that you couldn't get close enough. Was that the case in the final lap? Even with the DRS, it just wasn't enough with the lack of slipstream?
It's not even the lack of slipstream, it was the lack of top speed from my side. I went for a pretty high wing, to be honest. That only works when you start around the top 7, which was the case for me, so I went for that one. But I knew that I won't have a chance to overtake him. Like, there was no chance and no thought about maybe winning this race. I was happy to settle in with P2, even though that sounds very strange, but I take it.
You maximised your performance. Pretty much what you're saying with that second place. But yeah, finally not a P3, and of course, this being the end of Season 40, what are your aspirations for Season 41? What do you want to do? What do you want to achieve?
Yeah, basically having the same season. I mean, this was my first season on PC, which went quite well, I would say. 4 podiums, if I remember correctly. But the rest of the results were a bit like meh results. So yeah, I want to make sure that I finish on the podium more often and have many more top 5 results to be closer to a championship fight for next season.
Aspiration to have it. Not been too bad of a season. 2 races, points. So for your first season on PC, quite proud of that one, and bigger and better things, hopefully. You're back next season, either here in F3 or in F2 potentially. You know.
Oh no. No.
Well, thank you for joining us, Ryan. That was very performance from you.
Thanks for commentating, and maybe see you next season.
Well, don't know, but yeah, thank you for joining us, Ryan.
Yeah, no worries. Have a good evening.
And now, let's bring in race winner of this season. We are going to get Campbell Adams just after Tudor. And go then, Tudor. Let's see what he has to say on the race. Hello, Tudor. Can you hear me?
Yeah, hello.
Oh, well, congratulations on that race victory, your second of the season. Just talk us through that one. How was it on your side?
Yeah, it was a pretty easy race to manage, to be honest. But the quali was just a bit off. But yeah, I mean, I was like P2 after the first 3 corners of lap 1, which was the best position I could be in. So then I just went past Res Thomas to manage the pace on both teams, and yeah, managed it perfectly, I guess.
Certainly did. That undercut, I think, on Rennes at first stint. Was that just a changing point in that race? From that point onwards, did you know that pretty much hold on to this race lead till the end?
Yeah, that was a pretty good call to quit that lap and just undercut Rennes by 1 lap, because we know that tire delta is not that big if you have a one lap tire advantage. So yeah, it was good.
Certainly was able to hold on against Ryan Modler. He said he went for a little bit of a higher winged setup. Was that the same for you? Did you go for quite high downforce? Or looking at straight line speed?
No, I was gonna go lower on the wings, but I thought that I would just being like P4. I should have like been more on the wings, like higher on the wings. Sorry, and yeah, I just went +2 on H, and it was perfect. Just I had that gap in the middle sector, and then a few hundreds gained on the exit of last corner, so that was perfect.
Certainly did. That was a brilliant drive from yourself, but it's just, of course, the end of season. What's your aims for next season? What do you give?
Get in F2 surely, and get a good, do a good season there.
In F2, especially if you do more performances like tonight, you certainly have to be the drive from yourself. So yeah, enjoy your evening, and well, hopefully we'll see you in F2 next season.
Thank you.
Congratulations. And now, I just need to quickly send Campbell Adams a message. Let him know he is allowed to join us in the commentary box. It's his turn to arrive. And we are going to hear from your champion of the season. Wait for him to join that waiting room. Of course, a brilliant performance this season, and as I mentioned, nearly got taken away from him due to a crucial error near the end of near the end of that race in the second pit stop, picking up a 10-second time penalty. And if Isaac Lee was in that opportunity to pounce, he certainly would have lost it, but he can count his lucky stars, and of course you create your own luck in racing. Certainly did vital for Campbell Adams. Going up the room. During that, I might quickly help you guys out with the maths of finishes where top part of the standing. So with that win, Tudor will gain 16 points. So he'll move up to 4th in the standings, in front of Tom Roberts, I think, 8. Between the pairs, so yes, I think that is going to be Tudor moving himself up into 4th. It'll be Adams from Leap from People. Actually, no, it should be Adams Eat Count back that one. Then it will be Prescott Roberts. Then Ryan Modler. Jura, Midler, Somerset to Alea. Daniel Koya just beat out Wojtek Steg in that one. So Kenny will finish 12th, and then it'll be Batainen, Cloud, some Bieda, and Faso. Oh no, Tomasin will shoot himself well up the order, an extra total of 10 points to him, so he'll go up to 23, so he'll got himself just in front of Tamash Kokeni, so he'll 12th, that one. But Campbell Adams is now here, so let's drag him in. Hello Campbell, can you hear me?
Oh, hello.
Oh, there we go. Hello Campbell. Congratulations, my friend. You are the PSGL F3 Season 40 champion.
Yeah, feels good.
Yeah, how does it feel? Just talk us through it. How does it feel? How did it feel crossing the line and getting that championship?
It was pretty horrible. Not sure what was going to happen. Obviously, yeah, got the speeding and decided to make it way more stressful than it needed to be. Was very comfortable the whole race, knowing that they were out of the points, and then yeah, decided to speed by I think maybe 1 kilometer. I think I was dead on maybe, but yeah, I decided to make it a lot more stressful. But yeah, once I crossed the line and saw it, yeah, it was a big relief.
what you're saying as well, Campbell, is you saw Isaac so far down, you just wanted to add a little bit more spice. Spice to the title,
exactly.
spice to the battle, and make people go on the edge of this. But no, it was an amazing drive from you. Without that 10-second time penalty, you did really well to catch up to the back of Tomasson. Was you expecting on that second stint as well Roberts to drop off as much, because he was all over the back of you, got past Boba, and then he just completely fell off a cliff, whereas you were able to charge up to the back of Tomasson?
No, I wasn't really sure what to expect, because obviously the first 2 stints for me and Tom, we were both kind of just stuck in the train the whole way. So I guess once we got into clear air, maybe Tom just struggled a little bit more. Maybe his setup wasn't built for kind of clear air, it was just for following and probably low wings or something. But no, the pace was really strong on the last stint. I wasn't expecting it to be that strong. So I was happy with that, but yeah, still not ideal.
At all, but of course, in that as well, he had a very strong qualifying. I think it was 4th place, or it was either 4th or 3rd. You lined up on the grid, and yeah, you were really able to capitalise on the fact that both Gregory, who of course got caught up in that lap 1 carnage, and Isaac had really poor qualifyings, and it just gave you that upper hand. And did it give you a bit more momentum psychologically going into that race as well?
Yeah, for sure. I knew that all I had to do was just beat both of them, and no matter what position we were finishing, the championship was won. So once I saw that Greg got involved in that incident, which obviously you don't want to happen when you're in a championship battle, but obviously I wasn't too upset about it. But once I saw that, I just knew I had to kind of manage from there. And I was being very cautious, like, you know, could have made a few moves on, I can't remember who it was. I can't think of the name. What is his name?
Was it Renz on the
Ryan.
finals?
No,
Oh,
Ryan in the first stint, yeah. But yeah, engineer obviously said to keep it very cautious, don't make any stupid mistakes or moves. So, nah, I'm happy. And obviously cheers to my engineer as well. He was a big help in this championship ever since I've been with him. It's been second, first, and obviously 8th, but that wasn't on him.
4th place finish. I mean, it was just 1 kilometre an hour difference. You drove that race so well, and I think we could see as well in those final few laps, you had the opportunities on Tomasson too. Heading into turn 1 on those final few laps, you just didn't go for it. You played it safe. You knew time loss would potentially kill your hopes. So yeah, I think you played that one quite smartly. But of course, champion here. I think this surely means you move up to F2 now. So going up to F2, what's your aspirations there? What are you planning to achieve?
Well, obviously, I mean, not really sure what to expect going into F2. It's obviously a massive step up in the levels of the drivers. So I'd say the pace is fairly similar, but the pace across the board for the whole grid is very, very close. So make a mistake, lose a 10th, you could be 5th or 19th. So you just don't know. So we'll see what happens. I'm looking forward to it. So yeah, obviously I don't know if I'll be F2 yet, but if I am, I'm looking forward to it.
Certainly hope to see championship rightfully served. And I don't know if you knew this, but every race the checkered flag, you got points. So you got 100% points when you finished.
Yeah, I did see that. Happy with that. So proves, yeah, consistency's there. Just lacking that execution in qualifying, which I just need to improve on for if I get promoted to F2.
Well, yeah, something that very easily be found if potentially sessions here and there might be able to find it. But congratulations, Campbell, and yeah, hopefully we see you in F2 next season. But well done on the title.
Thanks, mate. Cheers.
Go enjoy it. Right then, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be all from us here at PSGL PC F3. What a season it has been, and it came down to a nail-biting finish with that 10-second time penalty that Campbell Adams got, all by the finest of margins. It might have been brutally ripped away from his grasp, but he was still able to cling on to that title. But of course, with this as well, it's going to be the end of Season 40, so thank you all very much for joining us on this journey. This back ever so shortly. Not sure when, within the next month or so, I think will be Season 41. It will be an absolute blast. Make sure you tune in next season as well to see some potential new faces join the F3 fray. We'll see some returning faces to F3 and potentially drivers move up to F2. That'll be exciting to see how they get on as well. But as I say, that is going to be all, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for an amazing season. This would not be possible without you guys. Make sure you check us out on all our socials up there on YouTube, Instagram, Discord. Join the Discord, Twitter, TikTok, and also Twitch. And then, so make sure you check out our sponsors of sim racing setups as well, just there in the. Well, that's going to be all, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all ever so much for watching. It would not be possible without you, all the drivers, and us at PSGL. Truly appreciate the support. So thank you all very much for watching. Stay safe, stay well, and we shall see you next season. And also, I think F2 is still going on, so if you want a little bit more racing fix before the end of the season, quickly head on over there. They'll love the support. Well, I think that title is wrapped up, but there will still be racing on offer. So stay safe, stay well, and we shall see you next season. Thank you all very much for watching.